Today I will be removing the chrome mesh grill insert that I put on my 2006 Pontiac GTO. It's pretty simple and just about anybody can do it. As you can see, I've already put the car on some homemade ramps that I made out of some dried 1-inch pine. I did that so I can make a ramp shallow enough to fit under the front of the vehicle, because I couldn't find any ramps that you could buy at a store that would fit, that you could just pull readily up on. So I made my own. I've put the car in first gear so it doesn't roll backwards, hopefully, and both wheels are chalked on both sides. That chalk doesn't look that good, but it'll work. Got a bigger cinder block over on this side. That'll do the job. I also have some chrome in the fake air inlet holes in the hood, the fake hood scoops, and I'll be removing that as well, hopefully. I might not get to that, we'll see. Now, as soon as you get under the front of the vehicle here, you're going to notice this little black guard or shield or whatever you want to call it that directs air or more air up into the radiator, and it's got these little black clips. There's one here that I've partially pulled out already. There's one here on the left that I have yet to pull out, and there's two little sneaky bastards that are, I don't know if you can see that. There's one way up in there, and that little screw that you can see is a screw that I've actually screwed into the end of it. So if I ever decided to take this out, it would be a lot easier to get to. Without that, it would be really hard to get the two flathead screwdrivers that I'm going to be using up in there. And yeah, it took me a while to get those out. I wanted to make sure that when they came out, that if I ever wanted to get them out again, it'd be easy. And there's one on the other side, just like it, with a screw that I put in it. So that makes 4 in total. And whenever you take them out, you're going to have to slide this whole thing forward. Here's this bad boy up close. So since I only have 2 hands, I'm only going to do one side. Pop off real easy. But it's a lot easier to put one on either side. See, I went to the other side, now I'm coming over to the other side to pull it on this side a bit. Anywho, you get the gist. That's starting to come out, but that's what it looks like when it's already popped out. And you can pull the whole thing out after that. That's what the thing looks like. Whenever you put them back in, you just push them in there and make sure that that center part is pushed in all the way. Just to give you some perspective here on these little push pins that you got to pull out on the side. The light's going to be in my way, but this right here is your passenger side fog lamp. And it's going to be just inside there, up there, about, I don't know, 10 inches from the inside lip of your front bumper. And I'm going to try to reach these pliers up in here and grab that screw that I put on there last time. If I can't do this with one hand, then I'm just going to have to shut this off. There we go. That came right out, thanks to that little screw that I put on the end of that. Be sure you pre-drill a hole before you put a screw in there. Otherwise you may end up damaging the actual push clip. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And now we're over here on the other side. See, there's the little push clip in there with the screw attachment. And I am not left-handed, so there we go. clip number 4 is out. That's the last of our clips. Now we got to pull our little air dam thingy out. This is our air dam shroud, whatever you want to call it. And we got these little, they're not really clips, they're just kind of, I don't know what to call them. But this whole thing will slide forward. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these things along the bottom. I need to make sure those are off, but there's not a whole lot of room up inside where we pulled off those original pins, one of the 4 push clips up in there. So whenever we pull this out, we're going to have to bend it a bit and be as careful as we can not to break it. I mean, I'm sure it'd be a lot easier to take off the whole bumper, but I'm not that ambitious, so we're just going to do as best as we can to just pull it out, and there's not a chance in the world that I can do that and film, so I'm going to have to leave you on your own with that one. As you can see here, I have part of the air dam pulled down and pushing it all back up into place. You can see, you can see where it came from. It's pretty flexible, so you can just flex each side of these bad boys out, pull it right out, and you have access to your lower grill. We haven't really got that far, but here is the air dam that I pulled out, as it would be sitting behind the grill, actually in the vehicle. It'd be sitting up under there. These are the push pins that go in. Here's one of the modified ones with a little tiny screw in the end. That one actually went in this corner right here, and of course the other ones went in the other holes. By removing the air dam, I've exposed the area that gives us access to our lower grill, or grill insert, or whatever you want to call it. Air intake, air area, I don't care. It's your world. I have my license plate attached by some, I think they're 4-inch bolts here, and they're just run through the grill, so I did not have to drill any holes in my vehicle, which even the aftermarket front license plate adapters require you to do. So I don't have any holes in my car, and I'm legal, I'm not riding dirty. The bolts, and I have a piece of felt glued to the license plate right here where the license plate would meet the point leading edge of the bumper, and with that felt it won't scratch the paint, and it keeps the plate off of the car, off of the bumper, so it won't scratch the paint. So yeah, I noticed that I needed to do something because I kept getting pulled over for not having a front license plate, and I didn't want to drill holes in my car. So, and it seemed like I got pulled over more often if I would put it in the window. So I don't know. Use that information however you want, but be smart, stay legal. I still have the factory insert in here. What you see is just a cutout of some crow mesh that I got from Pet Boys, but you can get this stuff at just about any hardware store and quite a few auto parts stores. The stuff from the hardware store, I've noticed, has the vertical diamonds in it, whereas the stuff you get from the auto parts stores tends to have this horizontal, which is the stuff that I like and that I went with. But I didn't have it for too long until I was falling behind a semi. I don't know how well you can see it in the video. It actually looks pretty good in the video, but if you were to actually see this, you'd see the mesh is pretty jacked up here, and in several other places it's following that semi, and I actually saw the rocks come flying at me, and yeah, now it just looks kind of cheesy. Here I have my license plate. Whenever you put the bolts in there and start to tighten them down, it's going to bend your license plate just a little bit. I installed the chrome mesh by removing the factory insert, which you'll see better here in a few moments. And with the sheet of wire mesh that I'd purchased, I cut out a section the exact same size as the factory insert, or actually just a little bit bigger, just to be on the safe side. I then reinstalled the factory insert, and from the outside front of the vehicle I started to place the cutout in the hole that it was going into, and while doing so I had some wire snips to make some more precise cuts to cut off the excess that I had intentionally left behind, just so I could be sure I had an insert the size of the hole it was going into. Now what you can't see here is how I fastened the chrome mesh to the factory insert. And I didn't want to use any glues or anything like that, so what I did was I took some picture hanging wire and very painstakingly unraveled it, all of the tiny little threads that are in it, the metal threads, until I had I don't know, about 5 or 6 inches of tiny little threads. And I actually used that to run through the grill back to the back side and just tied it like you would a twist tie. And it's incredibly small, and you use enough of them, it's more than enough to hold it on there. I've had this on for a couple years now, and I haven't had any problems with it at all. I used it for the hood scoops as well, and I'll show you what it looks like on the back side. It's a lot easier to see, but the reason I liked it was you can't detect it. Like, I'm even trying to find it where I put it. Now you can see some of them here. I went all around the perimeter tying this stuff. There's a small bit of it there. It's incredibly small. You can't even see it from the front because of the chrome kind of masks its appearance. But I don't know if you can see, I have 4 or 5 on this side. There's a little piece there. I got a couple more over there behind the light. Now to take this factory insert out, there are 4 clips holding it in. One of them, this one right here, is in the very center at the bottom. And there are 3 others exactly like it. One over on the far side, on the left side. One just like it on the right side. And there will be a 4th one. You can follow this bottom clip directly up, and it will be hidden back up in here. Now I'm not going to take my factory insert out because I don't have any reason to, but it's incredibly simple to get it back on after you pull those clips with a couple of flat head screwdrivers. Be sure to pull this row of wires off that run along the top. There's just 3 little slide clips. They don't really hook into anything. And they hook onto these little plastic, I don't know what you want to call them, things that are part of the bumper. And whenever you need to put them back on, you just slide them back over those plastic pieces.